In today's video, I wanted to teach you guys my launch strategy. This is the strategy I've used to launch digital products, online courses, live cohorts, pretty much anything that I want to launch organically to my audience. It's also the same strategy that I use to launch my core offer, Time to Build, which is a live cohort we run 3 to 4 times a year. So the launch strategy is particularly important for that model. And with that model, we usually hit around $250,000 to $300,000 per launch. So this strategy works, and hopefully at the end of today's video or ongoing after today's video, it'll work for you too. But if you're new to the channel and you're sitting there wondering, who is this guy and why should I listen to him? My name's Tom Noske. I'm a content creator, and over the last 2 years, I've built my online business from 0 to 7 figures per year. And now with this YouTube channel, I'm aiming to make videos that'll hopefully help you or some of you to do the same. There are kind of 2 options when it comes to launching an online course, a digital product, your core offer, whatever that may be. Now, option 1 is what I'm going to teach you today. It's a launch strategy with a system, a timeline, a process that is going to create a predictable and measurable result. Now, the pros of this, obviously, is that it's going to make you more money. It's more predictable, it's more measurable, and it's more repeatable, which is all good things. But the downside is that it is a lot of work, and it also doesn't allow, or it has a high upfront cost that doesn't allow you to test a product with the market. Now, option 2 is what I call the fuck it method. And that's where you just put the product out there, send it out to the world and see what happens. Now, you might think, that's always going to create a lesser result, which it will. But the positive is that you can test a product really, really quickly. You can put it out there, see if your audience likes it, validate the idea against the actual market, not just against, what your mates tell you behind the scenes who are never going to actually pay for the product anyway. And then the positive of that anyway is that over time, you can always take the product down, improve something on the back end, and then launch it again with this strategy. So if you're in that position where you've never launched a product before and you're feeling intimidated by how much work has to go into just the launch, let alone building the product, don't worry about any of this. I would say choose the fuck it method, option 2, put the product out there, test it with your audience, test it with the market, see how it goes, improve on the product, take it down, and then launch it again with this strategy. There is no reason why you can't do that. And I would actually argue or urge a lot of you to do that. Now, for your second launch, if you're someone who's a little bit more experienced or you're building your core offer and you want to maximize the results, this is definitely going to be by and far the best method for launching your products organically. So let's get into this system. Phase 1 of this process is preparation, like I said, and this is a 30-day stint. The reason why it's 30 days is because you need enough time to build up the wait list, to build up the hype, to build up everything you want to build before you launch, but not too much time that hype starts to drop off or your personal interest in launching starts to drop off. I would say if you can avoid it at all, don't mention anything until you've locked in a date that you want to launch, and there's 30 days until that launch date. Now, if you're building something for the first time and you want to post some behind the scenes, you want to share, hey, something's coming soon, or some little clips of what you're doing as a glimpse into what you're building, sure, that's no issue. But don't start actively promoting a wait list, a sign-up page, or any kind of workshop leading into that product until you've actually locked in a date and there's 30 days. The reason being is that I've worked with students in the past where they've built an exceptional wait list, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, really strong wait lists. And then as a result of that, I've had the expectation that they're going to be able to convert a certain number of those people. And then the launch day comes and they launch and they end up with a 20% open rate of the entire group of people that are on that wait list, meaning that only a fraction of those people of the open rates are going to be the ones buying the product. So a 1,000-person wait list with a 20% open rate is not a 1,000-person wait list, it's a 200-person wait list. So you want to keep that in mind. If you're having a 90, 60, 50-day lead-in time of promoting a wait list before you actually launch the product, keep in mind that may create a negative result on your open rates for your emails when you eventually do get into selling. So the goal here, like I said, the goal here in this phase, build a waitlist. Now, a waitlist is just a sign-up page with an option to submit their email. The key here would be to have, and I might share a little example of a good sign up page here, but the key is to have a headline, some kind of image, a CTA, and then a box with their name and email address. Now, it's not super important what you actually have on the waitlist page because I don't think it has that much of an impact on conversion rates. Generally, the people that are going to be signing up for the waitlist are going to be convinced by the content you're putting out first. But what you want to do most importantly is ensure that after someone signs up, you have a post sign up sequence of 2 to 3 emails. Now, the reason why this is important is, again, we want to maximize open rates when the time comes to actually launch. This is a step that a lot of people skip. They think once they've got the email, they've locked it in, they can predictably measure off those results, but that's very rarely the case. If you can send these 2 to 3 emails, then by having people open those emails, you'll be able to not only measure based on the total waitlist size, but also measure based on the open rates of those emails. We're not in the business of building egos. If you're getting 1,000 people on a waitlist, but you've only got a 60% open rate, you've only got 600 people on the waitlist, and we cannot measure 10% based on that 1,000 people. We can measure 10% based on the 600. So it's a really good idea to send a few post sign-up sequence emails. Not so much to nurture, not so much to give more information, but mostly just to boost open rates and then also gauge how well your launch is going to go. So what I say for these emails is the first email is just going to be a thank you plus confirmation email. This is basically where you just say, hey, thank you so much for joining the waitlist. Here's some more details on when the launch is going to be. Keep in mind, this is the landing page we're going to use, so bookmark this URL. Here's what to expect during the launch. Maybe give them a prompt of, we usually have this many people on the waitlist. We only have this many spots. Create that urgency. And then also confirm that they're actually on the waitlist. So somewhere in the email, be like, hey, thank you. You are now on the waitlist, because you would be shocked by how many people don't have anything happen after they submit their email, and how many of those people then feel confused and eventually kind of discouraged by the lack of communication that you get. The second email that you want to send here is just a prompt to build urgency, what I would call it. So I would label this as kind of an urgency email. Now, I've found this to be really successful when I include some instructions on what to do on launch day. So this is the email where I'll usually send kind of a final prompt. I'll go, hey, once again, thank you for joining the waitlist. Here's a heads up of what's going to happen across the 10-day launch. So I'll let them know the date. I'll send them the landing page, even if it's hidden currently, so they can bookmark the landing page. I'll let them know the exact time in multiple time zones. And then I'll also give them a heads up that this is limited. So there are limited spots available. We only have a limited time available. And then I'll also let them know how long it's going to be closed if they miss out on this launch. You basically want to give them a set of instructions to both obviously help them with those set of instructions, but then also create the urgency and the expectation that this isn't something you can fuck around with. This is something that is going to sell out if you're not there on the day. And then the third email is just an optional email. You can, you don't need to. I've had success with both, but you want to send some kind of, promotional email. So that can be a student win, or description of the product. Again, this is just to drive further promotion, drive further urgency, create even deeper desire for your product. Whatever you want to do here, that's entirely optional. Now, the key with building a waitlist, or the bonus of building a waitlist, is you'll be able to measure the success of your launch before the launch has even happened. And the reason you're able to do this is that I've found from my program at least, and these numbers will change depending on the price of your product, the way that your sales process works, but I've found for a $2,000 product with no sales calls that I can predictably convert 10 to 15% of my waitlist number into sales in the program through the launch sequence of emails that I send. So what this looks like is if you want to get, say, for my program, I want to get 150 to 200 students in my program. So for me to do that, I need for 150 students, 150 to 200 students at $2,000. I need a 1,000 to 2,000 person waitlist. If I can do that, I can predictably measure that I'm going to be able to convert that many people. So this number suddenly becomes my only goal during this 30-day period. That is my entire focus for that time. Now, a lot of people don't like building a wait list because they think it's kind of a waste of time. Why bother? You can just send it to the whole list. You know, your audience is already going to see it. Content's already going to be made. Don't worry about it. But even if you just do it as a way of predictably measuring performance, I think it's worth it. Now, the second reason that you want to do this is that by proxy of building your waitlist and all the content you're going to use, all the stories you're going to post, all the emails you're going to send, and that is how you're going to do this. I don't really have a way that I build my waitlists. It's just a lot of stories, a lot of posts, a lot of content, a lot of CTAs, a lot of emails, just more content across the board. If you can do that, you'll build your waitlist. But the proxy or by proxy, you're going to be building hype and urgency for the launch. You basically want to see it as promote your product or promote your waitlist as hard as you would promote the product during the open cart. That's basically how I try to think of building my waitlist. So by proxy, you're also building hype plus urgency, which are the two greatest ingredients for a successful launch, in my opinion. So if you can do this, if you can get your waitlist to a target number or have a target number in mind, and then build your waitlist to that size before you launch, you're going to have a successful launch. Now, phase 2 is the priming phase. Now, I consider these two periods kind of a continuation of the preparation period, days 30 and days 5, or the 30 days and the 5 days. You basically want to see this as 35 days to build your waitlist. But during these 5 days, what you're going to be doing is sending daily emails. Now, the goals of these daily emails are twofold. The first is you want to boost open rates even further before you actually launch. That's the first goal. You basically, again, want to guarantee that you're not going to be one of these creators who builds a 1,000-person email list or a 1,000-person wait list, launches and has a 15, 20, 25% open rate, because then you're really going to struggle to convert the amount of people that you wanted to sell. The second goal of this is to put your audience or put your wait list into a buying state. And what I mean by that is you want to create a storyline that drives urgency or drives a deeper desire for your product. I've normally found that if I can create a sequence of emails that increases the urgency of the problem I'm solving or increases the pain of the problem I'm solving whilst decreasing the person's commitment or decreasing the negative effects of them signing up for the program, then I am able to put people into a really strong buying state before I sell my program. So the way that I do this is you basically want to create, like I said, a 5 email sequence, and you want to do this before. Don't do this on the day. But those 5 emails are just going to go through a continuous storyline of why your program's so important, why the problem that you're solving is extraordinarily painful and also important to solve right now, and then also increase the urgency of solving that problem right now through your program. And you do that by, again, increasing the pain whilst decreasing the perceived downside of joining your program. So how can you make your program seem like the best possible answer to this extremely painful problem that your audience is going through? I also want you during this time, across these 5 emails, email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4, email 5. You also want to use this as an opportunity to drive even more urgency by explaining or showing how long is left until the launch, and again, giving them a list of instructions to expect on the day. So emails number 1 through 3, you can probably just stick to the storyline, but emails 4 and 5, you want to continue the storyline, but then also drive even deeper interest of the product by saying, hey, the launch is happening in 48 hours. This is what to expect. This is how many people we have on the wait list. This is what you can kind of, be prepared for. This is what you need to be prepared for if you want to get into this program. You basically want to make every single person on the wait list feel that they need to take action immediately. Otherwise, they're going to miss out. Now, the catch-22 of this is don't fake this. If you've tried to build your wait list and you've got 50 spots and you've got 250 people on the wait list, don't suddenly tell your audience that you've got 2,500 people on the wait list when you don't have that. There is nothing that will kill your brand quicker or kill your ability to launch quicker than fake urgency and fake scarcity. So avoid those like the plague. They will kill your business. Try to avoid as much as you can using any kind of fake urgency, fake scarcity, fake tactics to drive people to your programs. A lot of business owners do this as kind of a shortcut without realizing that if they didn't do that, you would be able to use real urgency, which is always going to be so much more effective. Then we get to the launch. Now, the launch, in my opinion, should really be no longer than 10 days. I've said 10 to 14 days here because I imagine a lot of you are coming from a space where you are running much longer launches, and dropping it from, say, 3 weeks to 10 days might be a little bit intimidating. But I would urge you to stick to 10 days at a maximum. I've written 10 to 14 days to give you a little bit of leeway here. Now, the reason being here is I've ran longer launches in the past. I've ran a 3-week launch. I ran a month-long launch once. And without fail, the kind of structure of how that launch goes is exactly the same, regardless of how long the launch is. It's usually a big 2 days in the beginning, a big 2 days on the back end, and then nothing in between. And if those nothing in between days are 3 days or 4 days rather than 2.5 weeks, that's going to be much better for the urgency, for the scarcity, for the intensity of your launch. I've found that if your launch starts to taper off, which it naturally does in the middle of the launch, I find there are a group of people, a very big group of people, if you've done your job well here, who are going to buy on day one. They're going to buy immediately. They're going to be waiting for the landing page to open. They're going to be waiting for the cart to open. They're going to be there ready to buy on day one. That's going to be a big chunk of your sales. Then they're going to trickle in over the next 48 hours. But then you're also going to have a big majority of your sales coming at the very end when the urgency kicks in, when people realize that this is about to end, the opportunity to buy at this price tag is about to close, or whatever you do to create your own urgency is about to end, essentially. And that's when a bunch of sales begin to trickle through again. So you'll have a big 2 days on the front end, you'll have a big 2 days on the back end, and then in the middle, it's pretty much nothing's going to happen, or at least most of the time, that's the way I've found it. So to take advantage of this, not only do you want to reduce your overall launch time frame, cut it down from 3 weeks to 10 days, even 7 days I've found some success with, because then your personal commitment will increase. The intensity will increase. The amount of content you have to make to maintain that intensity will decrease. The effort you can put into each individual content piece can go up because there's less overall pieces of content you need to send out. Everything gets better the shorter the launch is. Now, I know it's kind of a leap of faith here. You're probably thinking, like I said, a longer launch will allow you to make more money, but that is never the case. And I promise you, if you commit to a shorter time frame, you'll do much better. So to take advantage of, like I said, the beginning and the end, the first 48 hours and the last 48 hours, there are a few things you can do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to run a waitlist only promotion. Now, what we're going to do this is you're going to have the first 48 hours waitlist only. Now, unfortunately, there's not really any way you can actually do this. Like restrict the landing page for some people and not for others. The way that I've tended to do it is I just don't promote anything anywhere. I take all the links down from my Instagram page. I remove as much as I can to make sure that my waitlist are the only people that have access to it. And then you're going to run some kind of giveaway or exclusive offer for waitlist. And what this looks like is you basically want to offer something or do a giveaway for everyone who signs up in those first 48 hours. The reason you're going to do this is you're going to create multiple kind of climaxes of urgency, for lack of a better term. You're going to have the first 48 hours because it's going to open, and then you're going to have that bonus or that exclusive offer close. And then you're going to have the second period of urgency, which is the cart closing in general. And then if you want a bonus level, you can also open it back up for those last 48 hours to kind of even further crescendo that urgency. So for this giveaway, I've found in the past, giving away your time is a really good one. If you're a coach, you can give away coaching sessions. If you're a teacher, you can create an exclusive lesson. You can create an exclusive offer, group calls, whatever you want to do. Find a way to give even more value to these people who sign up in the first 48 hours. I've never really done any kind of discount codes or anything like that for the waitlist members. I just don't think it's that beneficial, in my opinion. If you want to do a pre-sale, that's a different story and a topic for another video. But I've found that offering an additional 2 is much more effective and much better long-term for your business than offering some kind of discount for signing up in the first 48 hours. So keep that in mind. Now, the way this is going to work in terms of content, like I said, you're not going to post anything on your Instagram. You're not going to post anything on YouTube. You're going to keep everything off your socials, and you're just going to send content to these email people on the waitlist. Now, to do this, you're going to send 3 emails per day for first 48 hours. Now, you want to write all these emails in advance, obviously. 3 emails per day for the first 48 hours, that's 6 emails. Then once you finish this 48-hour period, you're going to open up the cart to entire list plus social. But you're not going to sell them that exclusive offer. The exclusive offer is just for the people on the waitlist. And the way that you track this is you just have your list of the waitlist, you have your list of purchases in the first 48 hours, you cross-reference, and then you can send the offer or give access to everyone that's on both of those lists. Pretty easy to do. Now, the way that you're going to do this and maximize the use of these emails is I want you to write 2 versions of those first 6 emails. You're going to have your waitlist version plus your whole list version. Now, the difference is just going to be the wording around the urgency. So you can replace the exclusive offer with this is ending in 10 days, however long your open cart is running for. So the waitlist version is going to talk all about this exclusive offer, whereas the entire version or the whole list version is just going to talk about the launch in general. And then what you can do is you're going to send, obviously, these 3 emails a day to your entire list for the first 48 hours, to your waitlist, for the first 48 hours. But then you're going to send those 6 emails again, 1 per day, to your entire list minus your waitlist. And that's a way that you can get, double bang for buck for your emails that you're going to write for this waitlist. So you're going to have 6 emails, plus you're going to write an additional 6 emails that get sent to your waitlist and your entire list as a way to send 2 a day to your entire list and 1 a day to your waitlist for those last 7 days of the launch. Now, what this looks like is you're going to have 12 emails that you write for entire launch. And just for ease of demonstrating this, because I know this sounds confusing as fuck, but you're going to have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, day 9, day 10. Now, on day 1, you're going to send email number 1, number 2, number 3 on day 1. On day 2, you're going to send email number 4, number 5, number 6. On day 3, you're going to send email number 1, alt. So that's your entire list email. Plus you're going to send email number 7 to the entire list. This email is the first email that's getting sent to the entire list, whereas email number 1 is being resent, but minus your waitlist. So you don't want your waitlist members receiving the email twice. And then so on and so forth, if that makes sense. You're going to have email number 2 again, email number 3, email number 4, 5, 6, and then email number 8, 9, 10, 11, and email number 12. And then I found, as a good way to finalize those 2 days, all you really want to do is send reminder emails. They can basically be, hey, 48 hours left, 24 hours left, 5 hours left, 6 hours left, whatever you want to do to further drive that urgency. Create a couple emails that you can reuse every single launch. I find I write 12 primary emails every single launch, or me and my team will write 12 emails every single launch that are brand new, written for, the time, written for what we think will do well, particularly in that moment. But then we'll have a series of, 10 to 20 emails that we've reused over and over and over again that we can either use to fill in the gaps in the launch strategy, create even more urgency in certain periods, or just a reminder email, because you really don't need to rewrite an email that tells people there's 24 hours left in the launch. You can do that once and then forget it forever. Now, the second part of this launch phase is just content in general. Obviously, the email is going to be a big part of this launch sequence, building the waitlist, having the priming period, and then the launch phase itself. But I've found, as a general rule of thumb, during your launches, you just want to get really fucking loud. You want to tell every single person who follows you anywhere on the internet that you're launching something. That is your entire mission when it comes to launching your products. Get as loud as you possibly can. Launch your product. I know it sounds way too simple to just say launch your product, but it's true. If you are launching something, make sure you are spending as much time as humanly possible during that period launching a product. In terms of delivery, obviously, if you're building this launch and you're building a product as you're going, the delivery is going to happen obviously at the end of the launch period. But the reason why I wanted to include delivery on here is kind of because there is a strategy where you can build this as you go. Obviously, this is a long 45-day period from, idea to the actual launch ending. So there is no reason why you can't create the landing page, create the VSL, create the copy, do everything, start the launch phase. So enter, the beginning of the preparation phase, and then immediately start building the product as you go. I've done this in the past a lot of times where I've had an idea, I've got something I want to sell, and rather than building it and then going into a launch, I'll start the launch and then use my own, desire to fulfill the people that are buying my product as a means of avoiding procrastination. I know that kind of sounds insane, but it's true. I've done this an enormous amount of times in the past where I've been procrastinating on a product. And so rather than continuing to, deliberate on what I'm going to do, I just throw myself in the deep end. I build the landing page, I write the copy, I create the VSL, I start selling it, and then I have that period of time to build the product. It's a really good way to, especially if you're like me, avoid procrastination. If you did find this valuable and you want to work with me closer and you want to join my next intake of Time to Build, you can visit the top line in the description and there'll be a link to sign up for the waitlist there. And then you'll go through this entire period over the next 45 days.